Hey guys, it's Lucid. We're going to be starting the game with Ring World now with the initial expansion. So we're going to start with turn 1. And yeah, let's see where we start. Our god is awake. So if you missed it during Pretender creation, we've got all fire shock resistance and regen on our god. And this is our dude, Oogity Boogity. And let's take a look where we start. So we are on this big green planet. We are on this planet with our partner, so that's very fortunate. It's kind of a roll of the dice. Not everybody will be on the same planet as their partner, though people should be at least adjacent on planets. So, like, if I were to start down here and I weren't with my partner would probably be on this planet. So anyway. We are pretty close. I am in a kind of shitty starting spot. I've got... this is kind of a really weird feature. There's these big kind of demilitarized zones that you can't really walk through. Like, all the provinces here, none of them allow me to cross over to this side of the map. So it kind of makes very weird choke points on this map. Like, the whole map is basically tons of choke points. Which will be interesting. It does change a few mechanics of the game. Like, normal strategic map move is really shitty. You need to focus on getting movement items to move your troops around, and then use labs and other things to teleport around. So, not sure how that's going to play out for us in the late game. Lanka has much better mobility in the mid to late game with cloud trapezing thugs and things like that. I really don't. But we'll see. Hopefully we can figure something out. So, good news in that we start on the same planet. Bad news in that I start kind of in this horrible to expand place where it's really hard to move anywhere efficiently. Like, this is a much better planet up here. It's way easier to, like, move around. A lot of this planet is good, though it has some weird, like, rivers that run through it that you have to be able to jump across. But this one is a bit easier to move around. And then this one's a bit easier to move around, too. This one up here is just kind of janky, but even this one, you can see there's still a ton of choke points in here. You have to kind of go through one or two provinces to get to other parts. So, I can't complain. Same planet as my partner is kind of the most important thing. There's only a few ways onto this planet. One way is through here, one way is through here, and one way is through here. So if we can control all of these, we'll be in good shape. And then we set up, hopefully, some forts on each of these, so it's very difficult for them to wrest control. This is a map with fixed starting positions, so we can know not who is in each of the other starting spots, but we know where they all are. One of them is up here, so this will be one of our neighbors. It's one of these two. I think it's this one, but I'm not sure. There's one down here, too. And then there's one here on this moon. I forget whether it's this or this province. So those are all going to be our neighbors, and then there's some over here. I think there's 2 or 3 on this planet. I think there's 3 or 4 on, maybe even 5 on this big planet. And then same thing down here. There's quite a few on this one. So, anyway, that is that. I had tested this nation out in single player a few times before starting the game to make sure I understood expansion. If you trash productivity scales and you get Sloth 3, there is a problem with this nation where, okay, turn 1, we don't have enough money to recruit a Dione. It's 490, and we don't have 490. We only have 400. So turn 1, Dione is not an option. We are going to need people to make temples and shuttle troops around, so we're going to go ahead and get one of these turn 1, because we're going to need commanders. You could get more troops, but the thing is, if you get much more than this, you're not going to have enough money turn 2 to make a Dione. Second problem is, if you get Sloth 3, like I was saying, turn 3, you're not going to have enough resources to make a Dione, even though you'll have enough gold. And what that will mean is that you can start production, but it will take 1 turn just to get the resources for the Dione. And it won't start triggering the 4 recruitment point spend until the turn after that, which is turn 3. So basically, unless we can get a province turn 1, which the only way we can do that is by blind expanding. Unless we do that, we cannot get a Dione until we would start building it potentially on turn 2. Turn 2 to 3, we'd still be wasted, but turn 3 we'd actually have enough resources, so then it would be 2 more turns until it's out. So turn 4 it would be halfway done, and then turn 5 it would be produced, and we'd be able to expand with it. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Now, there's a few other things we can do with this priest. The priest can bless this guy, and he can also ferry some demons around. So what I like to do, and this is a bit of a dice roll, is I basically am going to try to expand with my starting army. This army doesn't look awesome, and it can't kill like really hard stuff. But if we expand into our own dominion, we might have like 1 turmoil scale, which will give these guys slightly better stats, and they can usually win a blind expand, even though you might not think they would. This guy, either he can do, like, sometimes if he's air, sometimes he can get like air shield or something, which is nice for him to cast levels without any research done. But yeah, basically this guy's just going to run in after holding 1 turn. That will usually let these little demons run in and get in front enough, and then he will run in behind them, hit a few things, and then hopefully they rout. That's kind of the way you want this to go. So, yeah. We're basically going to try to blind expand. The risk is there's like a 1 in 10 chance in my test. Maybe it's a little higher. Maybe it's like a 1 in 7 chance that this blind expand is not going to work. It tends to have trouble versus a lot of heavy cav. It can have trouble if it runs into a huge group of barbarians. Those small and medium groups of barbarians, it's okay. You'll take some losses, though. The dagger troops are kind of bad. Anybody with 2 attacks, they can kind of mess these guys up, like Bone Tribe. But versus a lot of things, these guys actually do surprisingly well, even though they take attrition. We do want to keep this group around. They're kind of nice to have. They have decent siege strength. We're going to need some troops just to kind of siege forts down, even though we're going to be relying on our Dione. If you want to play it safe, an option is to not blind expand. The thing is, if we don't blind expand, we can use this priest to bless this guy, and it's much less likely he's going to die in combat. Because even though he's sacred, he cannot self-bless. So, and if you do that, then you can kind of position him more towards the front, and he can take a little bit of the load off of your demons. Anyway. Hopefully that will work. If it doesn't work, we're going to be in the shitter, because this army, which is very capable of expanding for the most part, will not be expanding for us, so we're going to lose probably like 4 or 5 provinces that we would have had. So that's going to suck, and it's going to make our first Dione take a turn longer. We're going to expand here into a mountain. Mountains tend to not have heavy cav, but they can have barbs, and I think they can... I'm not sure if they get Bone Tribe, but they can also have cavemen, which... Actually, cavemen we do okay against. But we'll see. Really, we're just doing it for the resources, but we could probably... I don't know. Anyway, that's the first turn. Research, we'll go over that real quick. Our Pretender God's awake, so we actually have a pretty blistering 40 research a turn. We're going to go after Alteration. Alteration's really important for our Dione when they come out. We want to have Alt 2 done when our first Dione comes out, or thereabouts. That way he can Stone Skin. which is going to make him much, much tougher. Yeah. We'll go up to Alt 3. That will give us Iron Skin, which will be helpful. Then Conjuration 3 to get Summon Earth Power. We may go up a little higher in Conjuration because we get, at 4, we get the Shikomi, which will be a great outlet for our Death Gems, as well as the Ghost General, which don't think we'll be getting. He's not sacred, if I recall. And then Enchantment 3 will give us Fire Shield, which will be pretty nice. We may switch this up, but anyway, that is the plan for now. And let's go ahead and check out the next turn. So turn 2, let's see how our expansion goes. Okay. So Femoria actually was able to make a profit. This is a Disciples game, you can't normally make profits, but Femoria is the only single person in the game. So he doesn't have a disciple, he's just a single pretender, so he can make a profit. What did he name him? No, he didn't name him. Okay. We also have a message from Abyssia. It doesn't matter who you think your enemies are, the real enemy is inside your border already. I speak, of course, of the perfidious elves. Let no elf survive this righteous crusade. Okay, so Abyssia has it out for elves. We have our first battle. So let's see what we're fighting. Okay, this is kind of a lot of barbs. It's like 50. Not really good. You know what we probably could have done is position this guy a little farther back and have him attack right away. And that way maybe the wolves would make impact about the same time as the little demons do. It's probably not completely optimal. I mean, the wolves are going to kind of die like trash anyway, but... Okay. So these guys are getting chewed up pretty fast. The archers generally do pretty well against barbs, but... Okay, this guy just got absolutely murdered. Okay. So too many barbs. That's the end of this little party. And my Onishugo, who are actually really nice. Okay, so that's unfortunate. There were 50-something. We killed some of them, but not enough. Lanka is just pinging a province. Found some heavy cav. Shouldn't be too hard for him. So this is really, really bad for us. This is like the 1 in 7 chance that this doesn't work. Or at least that's kind of my experience. And then usually if it doesn't work, your Onishugo will still live, he'll retreat, and you'll lose maybe like half of your demons. But where we lose all our demons and our Onishugo, that's pretty rare. So that's kind of as bad as we could possibly have for a start. But we get a hero, and we get probably our best hero. We get this guy, the Kurofumi, Master of Shadow Blossom, which, you know, getting it turn 1, that's pretty sweet. Not something you can expect, but we do have luck 3. What's important about this is he's going to break us into blood. He also has the Earth Blood Crosspath, so he can do the Earth Boosters, which will get us up to very, very high Earth. Yeah, which, like if we put a Bloodstone on this guy, he can be Earth 6, which is what you need for Earth Blood Deepwell. So that is kind of cool. Though I think it's, you have to be Construction 4 to make that. One second, I'm going to check. Yeah, so it's only Construction 4, but we're going to need to be Blood 3. And that's going to be a bit tricky because we are not going to have an easy time forging blood boosters. However, our partner Lanka should be able to make them, especially once they get up to Construction 6 if they go that high. There's a fair amount of boosters at Construction 4, blood boosters, but I don't know if Lanka is going to have the paths on them to make those. So, yeah, we'll see. Actually, let me check real quick. Yeah, so Lanka is going to have a little trouble making me some of the boosters. The Brazen Vessel and the Armor of Souls are both blood 5 to make it, and he would need to give me kind of both of those. So he could wait until he's Construction 6, which I don't think Lanka's going to want to go that high very soon. So probably we're going to have to do it at Construction 4. And the only way to get the Armor of Souls and the Brazen Vessel is he's going to have to empower his dudes. So he's going to have to get a Blood 3 dude and empower him twice. Yeah. So that's going to be a bit tricky. But as soon as he does that, and depending on research... Enchantment's not a super high research priority, so I don't really need Bloodstones very soon. So we'll have to sort it out. But anyway, this guy's going to open up Bloodstones to me. He's also going to open up Blood Magic, which even if I only have a few people who can break me into blood, getting Demon... Whoops. Getting... Where the hell is it? I think it's... Here we are. Oh, Bloodlust. Whereas I'm going to have a ton of demons. It's going to make my dudes way better. So I do want to get Bloodlust. I have to be Blood 2 to cast it, though. This guy's only Blood 1. So he can get me into vampires in the later part of the game. Or we can empower him up into Blood 2 and hope he doesn't get harm marked. If he gets harm marked once, we can probably do Twiceborn on him or something. But, yeah. Then he could just kind of roll around with my big army. I don't know if I want to do that. Maybe I just have him Blood Hunt. Lanka can make me a Sanguine Dowsing Rod, or I can make one. And just slowly work my way up to maybe Blood Empower somebody else? I'm not sure. But Blood is something that Yomi kind of wants. This isn't enough to break me into it strongly, but it's enough to kind of break me into it. Anyway, so we lost this. These next few turns are going to be kind of boring. We started recruiting a Dione. Now, in theory... Okay, no, we do need to do this, because next turn... I'm not going to be able to expand until I get this first Dione out. Other options to expand would be potentially recruiting Mercs. But you can see I've got actually a pretty hard cross cap circle. I've got 70 dudes here, 50 dudes here, 60 dudes here, and 60 dudes here. So crappy troops or mercs are probably not going to be able to take these. They're all too hard. I'm going to need my Dione. And so the only way to get it is to start grinding it out now, and then I'll have them in 3 turns. And that's basically what the rest of this episode's going to be. But we'll go ahead and do turn 3. We got an event in Yomi, 834 gold, holy shit, a Bane Venom Charm, and a Rawhide Shield. That's freaking awesome. We have a message from Sarmatia. Don't worry, we have a number of specialists in checking under the skin, so to speak, to find any elves that may be hiding among us. Okay, he's referring to flaying different people of the population, or portions of the population looking for elves. A message from Abyssia. Watch as the perfidious elves stab you in the back, sapping your strength, siphoning your money, causing disruption among the masses. Elves have no loyalty to any but their own. Okay. So I guess... I don't even... Who do we have who's even an elf nation? I'm not even sure. We've got no elves... Okay, we've got these ones. We've got Helheim, which is a pretty cool nation. We've got Rus, which is... they're not elves. Though they kind of look like them a little bit. Yeah, we have no glamour here. Monkeys, Lanka, and us. Hinnom. Yeah, there's only one elf nation, so I guess he's just on a quest. I guess there's like, these guys are kind of like elves. They are glamored Numidian warriors, but yeah, I mean, I don't really think these are elves. anyway. So basically there's one elf nation that Abyssia is going on and on about. We're probably not going to read all of those, but anyway. We're working on recruiting... Oh. I did have extra money, so I got some Bakemono archers. Though I'm not sure... Yeah, okay, so here's the reason. Our Pretender God is making... Like, he made a ton of barbarians this month. You get a very random amount each month. It's not, like, very consistent. We got a lot, and so I'm like, okay, I got a lot. I'm going to start making some archers. And with enough archers, I might be able to expand before my first Dione comes out. Because one of the problems, if your expansion sucks this much, when your first Dione comes out, we're not going to have enough resources the next turn to make another Dione. And so we're going to be in another 3-turn Dione after this. So that is the plan. We're also going to get elephants. And we're going to get them in our cap. And the goal is, with these guys and an elephant, we can take one of these harder, probably this one. But we can take one of our cap circle. And that will be pretty key. So we're going to go ahead and do the... Which turn was that? It was turn 3. Turn 4. Another elven message. If you want to read it, go ahead. Okay, so... Wait, did we... Actually, Lanka expanded last turn. We're going to go back and... I'm going to make sure we watch Lanka expand. Because I do want to cover his stuff in the Let's Play. So, okay, so Lanka's God is expanding. Now, this is tricky, expanding with the Raven of the Underworld. It's tricky for a few reasons. One, we have very low protection. We have fear and regeneration and awe when we're in Dominion. But we don't have a ton of HP. So, it's going to do pretty well. It's kind of killy, though. It's got 2 pretty high damage attacks. So, it's going to do well against small groups of Indies, and it's very mobile, so it can kind of jump around to different provinces that are in his dominion, picking off kind of easy provinces. So it takes some judgment in terms of where you're going to attack. But, like, he does Twist Fate, and then he's going to jump on the back line. And this fear is going to cause them to rout pretty quickly. I think it's like fear 15 or something. Or 10, okay. Okay, so you can see they rout pretty quickly. It did get hit a couple times for a fair amount of damage. So if this were to go on much longer, they would be in trouble. Now, they are routing, they have no morale, so the awe checks are going to almost always win. Okay. So it was successful and killed a bunch of them. Now he's expanding again. He made a bunch of these guys, the Anusaras and the Palankashas, however you say that. And he's got his little starting army with a bunch of trashy monkeys. The problem with these monkeys is, especially if you're making these crappy dudes, the Anusaras, they have no armor, basically. And these sticks and stones a lot of times are not enough damage to kill your enemies, but they are enough damage to cause friendly fire. So... But they're inflicting some damage. It's almost like you want these guys to fire 2 or 3 times and then to run into combat themselves. Okay. Monkeys have kind of given up on fighting, but fortunately we've got the Sacreds. Okay, so he wins there. Lost some of his Atavi infantry, but then won. So he had 2 successful expands that last turn. I'm going to go back to turn 4, which is our current turn. We're going to go all the way through turn 5. Okay, so Lanka is expanding again. Up here, this is not the best expander. So we're taking this as part of our build because it's going to be ridiculous later in the game, even though it's not super ridiculous right now. Okay, and then he jumps in and gets them all to rout. So that is not bad. And then marches forward with a few of these little dudes. Okay, we already see all the crappy sacreds dead. Probably some more of these guys are going to die too. Yeah. Okay, and then they rout. But then all the banishment up here ends up causing the enemy to rout, and then he barely takes that province. So that's actually not great, and arguably not worth it for a 5-income province to lose all those guys. But what can you do? There are death scales here too, so we should probably site search for death. I actually think we haven't done it yet, like a little bit farther forward in the game, so I need to make sure to remind my partner to do that. Anyway, so Lanka's expanding well. We got the elephant core this turn, so that is pretty important for us. And we are going to try to attack. Now, this is going to be we barely have enough to probably take one province, and you can see it was like 40 last turn, it said, 60 this turn. There's probably like 50 to 60 in here, because it was 60 the turn before. Probably like 55 if I had to guess. And that's kind of a lot. I mean, these are not great indies, but we're not really bringing too much to the table. So we're going to put the elephants here. We're going to have them all run forward. And then archers are going to go shoot. And these guys are going to run forward, and that's basically it. The only thing we're being really careful of is there's nobody in the retreat path of the elephants when they run back, so they don't stomp all over my little dudes. And that's basically it. We're going to run into this. It's going to be a high attrition attack, but if we don't take this province, then our next Ea-Yomi is going to be 3 turns, and we do not want that, so we really, 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 really need to take a province. In terms of research, we hit all 2, so our first Ea-Yomi when he comes out is going to be casting Stone Skin, which is pretty solid. And I think that's about it for this turn. Yeah, you can see that Ea-Yomi's popping out next turn. And then we will load up turn 5, which is going to be the last turn for this episode. I kind of want to show you what expansion would look like with Yomi if you don't suck at the beginning, like I'm doing. Gratuitous elf hatred message from Abyssio. We expand again. The other thing I want to point out when we're looking at the Raven of the Underworld is, I think his health was like 90 earlier. You can see it's already up to 119. So when he wins a battle and ends a turn in friendly Dominion, I mean in the province where he just finished the battle, Corpse Eater's going to kick in, and he's going to eat some of these, which will permanently increase his max HP. It's not showing up. There's not like a Corpse Eater line item, but you can see how it's like current max HP is 111, which is significantly more than the Dominion bonus and then the base max HP. So like, if we just take into account his base HP plus the Dominion bonus, like how many candles we have, his current max HP would be 85. I mean 84. But you can see it's 111. So anyway, his HP is going up and up each time, which means he's going to be a little less likely to die in each fight. Okay, so he casts Twist Fate and Skeletal Body. Skeletal Body is actually really good on this guy. Because Awe is going to make him much better in conjunction with Fear against normal melee troops, but he's still going to get kind of torn up by archers. And also, a lot of the indies have pierce attacks, so this is going to make him take a good bit less damage. And you can see with regen, he's staying right at max HP, so pretty good. No afflictions either so far, so cannot ask for much more. We're going to watch his other battle, and then we'll watch ours. And if we fail expansion twice in a row, it's going to be bad, guys. Okay, so this is a pretty big army for Lanka. 6 or 7 of these Palankshas, or however the hell you say it, Palankasha, these Palankashas, they are going to tear up almost every kind of indie, especially with an all-regen bless. They're going to be super solid. So you can see we lost nothing here. And then we'll watch our battle, which is just a crap bundle plus some elephants. Okay, they're shooting mostly at my barbs. Okay, and the javelins come out and are kind of murdering elephants. Alright, I think this is Hannibal, the leader. Yeah, okay, so he's routed like a big wimp. Thanks. But fortunately, I have another commander here, so the other elephants are not routed. And we're losing a few barbs, but not too many, and the elephants are killing everything pretty quickly. So, it could be worse. We took this province, we didn't lose too much. I mean, we're going to lose all the elephants because the leader ran. But we only lost 5 barbs, so could be way worse. So, we've still got this army. We see a few other provinces. So we see this, we might be able to take this. But, you know, if this were 40 instead of 30, I probably couldn't take it with just these guys. And then even if it's 30 versus 30, it's going to be a high attrition trade. I mean, the only reason I didn't lose more here is because I had the elephants go in. But with the elephants gone, we're not going to kill things too quickly. And then that means all my barbs are going to die. Because barbs they're not very defensive units. They tend to take a lot of damage. But the good news is we got a Dione, and we're going to give him our little shield, which we got from an event. And yeah, so we're going to take that shield. The thing is, it's going to get rid of his sword, so he only has a fist to punch people, but we do not really need a sword, because we don't need to kill everybody. With fear, he's going to win just by making people run away. And this will make him a bit harder to kill. Yeah, so we will send him in. And then they will hit on him and hopefully just run away. And then we're making another Dione. This one you can see we're positive on the resources, so he is going to be a 2-turn Dione. The problem with Dione... Okay, let's talk a bit more about Dione and then we'll end this episode. I know it's going a bit long, but Dione have some problems. Okay, I mean, they have a lot of awesome things, like Snow Move, that's the shit. They summon Oni for us, which is great. Chaos Power is actually pretty good in 5, because a lot of people don't want to take Order, always. And then Fire and Poison Resistance is nice. The problem that they have, and they have good base stats, and then the second form is awesome. The problem that they have is this armor sucks. It is 18 protection, which is nice, but -3 defense, and then 4 encumbrance. And then 6 map move penalty. It's heavy armor, which is kind of nice, but the map move penalty and the encumbrance penalty really make this unit a lot worse than it would be. And we have no helmet, nor a shield. So we tend to take a fair amount of damage. We can dish out a lot of damage, but we tend to take a fair amount. And if we want these guys to be early game super combatants, we can't have them dying, and they're going to die when they get hit in the head. So what we need to do is make hats. So fortunately, I got this guy very, very early, which is kind of lucky. If you don't get this guy, you may want to consider getting a sorcerer early and having him just make hats. Just wasting one turn to get a sorcerer can be a good idea. Because especially with Stone Skin, his head protection is going to jump up to 15, which means he won't get really killed by like arrows and stuff. But if you're running into barbs, if the barbs hit you on the head, especially when they have these mauls that do extra damage on head hits, you're going to take a lot of damage from the occasional head hit. So with that, we're going to be making a black steel helmet, which are actually pretty good helmets. They are like 24 head protection and no encumbrance, which is not bad, and you don't get a defense penalty. So we'll be making that. We'll stick that on our next Ea-Yomi. This guy with the shield is going to be just fine. The script we give him is we put him in the back. We're going to do Blessing, Stone Skin, Skeletal Body, Hold, Fire. The Hold's going to do a few things. It's going to keep him away from enemy priests, which would banish him. And then the Fire is going to let him do his Javelin and throw flames. Because those are just as good as hitting somebody with the fist, except we're not going to put them in fear range. And it's going to allow his fatigue to tick down a tiny bit, which I guess we'll take that. Stone Skin and Skeletal Body. Skeletal Body you want to do dependent on who you're fighting. Slingers it's not going to help with, but Hoplites, they have Pierce attacks, so probably worth it. A lot of, like, versus Barbs you wouldn't do it. But versus a lot of things, you're going to want it, because there's a lot of pierce damage in terms of indies. So that's basically it. The Blessing's going to be key, obviously. And I think that's it for this turn, and therefore for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. We have taken 1 province in 5 turns, but we'll do better. See you next time.